We got an interesting poll here from Nanos, of all people. Now, you might think, Dan, this is kind of a weird video. Why are you making a poll about Nanos? The Liberals are ahead. What's so interesting here? Well, I'll explain that in just a second, but just before I do, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps grow the channel. I appreciate you guys for doing that so much. So, yes, this is a Nanos poll where the Liberals are winning by 1.2%. The NDP back up to 11.5, Bloc at 6.2, Greens at 4, People's just under 1%, Other at 0.4. Now, the reason that this is interesting is because Nanos usually has the Liberals doing better than they actually do. If that's true here, which there's no reason to think it's not, you'd think the Conservatives are slightly ahead, and we've seen other polls that I've done videos on later last week where there's more and more polls coming out showing that Pierre-Poilievre is pulling ahead. Now, I'm sure tomorrow or maybe even later today, another poll will come out showing that Mark Carney's up because of his meeting with Trump. And he's showing that he's trying to negotiate, and maybe a deal will become, finished somewhat soon, and it'll be a good deal. Like, there's more optimism, I think. Although the way Mark Carney behaved himself, glazing over Trump, is probably not a great look either. But we'll see what happens there. But this is important because, A, you're seeing the NDP start to rise back up. And the fact that the Liberals and Conservatives are so close in a Nanos poll, a liberal bias poll, that's big. So, I want to show you this, right? So this is also from the Real Albanian Pat. Go give him a follow on X. He's a great pollster. And he's only like 17 years old, by the way. So, pretty smart for his age. So this is the change from June 20th. So from 3 months ago, the Liberals on a Nanos poll are down 6.1 points. Conservatives are up 7.1 points. NDP is only up 0.7, etc., etc. This is a telling sign that Mark Carney and the Liberals are probably feeling the pressure. And I'm going to be covering more of the question period. I just saw some of it today. It was pretty heated, so stay tuned for that tomorrow. I will be covering that as well. Mark Carney and Pierre-Poilievre went at it quite heavy today, and the caucus, the cabinet members were also pretty loud and rowdy and overly excited for some reason, even though we got nothing done. But either way, this is great news for the Conservatives and Pierre-Poilievre. And this is the latest Nanos poll modeled out. Conservatives, 164 seats to the Liberals, 144. So you would see a conservative minority here. That's not what we really want, but the fact that a Nanos poll is showing this is wild. Especially considering the NDP would only gain 5 seats. I would have to think that the NDP would have to gain a lot more than 5 seats for the Conservatives to win, but it looks like maybe that's not the case, according to liberal bias Nick Nanos. So here's a look at the map here. So I always love showing it when it's a nice, beautiful blue color. But look at Toronto here. I don't know what these ridings are all called, but usually this is all red. But there's a little bit of a crack in the red wall. Not in Ottawa, not in Montreal, but that's kind of how it usually is. The Liberals, or the Conservatives rather, needed to crack that Liberal wall, and they have. That's a good sign. You also look at the Hamilton area. It looks like this is Hamilton Center here. This is orange, so the NDP's taken that back. And it looks like there's also this blue riding here, which I believe is usually red. Then you have the Greater Vancouver area. There's more blue here, which is great news. Again, I don't want to see an election called and have Pierre-Poilievre win a minority, because the other parties can just team up and stop any bill from being passed. In order to pass a bill, you need 172 votes. If your team only has 164, well, you need some votes either from the Liberals, the Bloc, or the NDP, or the Greens. You're not getting it from the Liberals. You're not getting it from the Greens. You're probably not getting it from the NDP, so you're going to need help from the Bloc. And Yves Blanchette, the leader of the Bloc Québécois, isn't stupid. If he knows that Pierre-Poilievre needs him, he's going to say, hey, look, Pierre, I'll vote for this, but you need to give Quebec something in return. I don't want Quebec to have to hold us hostage for anything to get done. That's not going to be great. I'll take a conservative minority over, a liberal minority or especially a majority, but you really want a majority government so that when they want to pass a bill, they can get it passed and then see where things go over the course of the next few years. I just have a feeling, like all of you, that if Pierre does get in and he has a majority and he can do what he and the Conservatives please, for the most part, that Canada would be trending in a better place. I know people say, well, these government politicians, they're all bought and paid for and they don't care about Canada. I mean, that's not a bad point. Yes, all politicians take donations. However, the one thing that's positive about the Conservatives, and the most positive in my opinion, is that the Canadian people hold them accountable more than they hold the Liberals accountable. Clearly. Right? I mean, if the Conservatives won 3 elections in a row and destroyed the country, there is zero chance they win a 4th. In fact, they might even lose so badly they would lose official party status, and whoever the leader would be at that time would be gone. If Stephen Harper or Pierre Poilievre did what Justin Trudeau did, the Conservatives would be in big trouble. But because this country is mostly liberal, the Conservatives actually have to go above and beyond and do some good things, or else they get voted out. The Liberals can destroy the place and get reelected. So if you're Pierre Poilievre, you know that if you get in and you have a majority, you have to keep a lot of people happy. Well, you're not going to keep anybody happy if inflation keeps going up, if there's no immigration cap, if there's no remigration, if there's no progress in terms of building houses, if housing startups are down and there's corruption and all this, he's going to be gone. What's a politician's one job? To get reelected. The Liberals can fail over and over again massively and still get reelected. The Conservatives do not have that luxury. So if you think they're all the same, I mean, I agree with you in some areas that yes, they are. I think a lot of them, most of them are warmongers, and I hate that. But since there's no better option, because Maxime Bernier is not a better option, I'll take the guy who wants to put violent criminals in jail. I'll take the guy who wants to, sell off these buildings that you see in every city that are vacant. If they're on government property, sell them cheap and let people build homes, build apartments, do some renovations so that they're livable. There's lots of places, you just walk around downtown Hamilton, there's lots of places that are just vacant, and the building is just sitting there empty, rotting away. I'll take a guy who wants to take those, sell them to someone cheap, or maybe buy it cheap off of someone, and then have contractors come in and then sell it off, or whatever the process is. But Pierre wants to make sure that these empty, vacant buildings get renovated, restored, so that you can have people live in them. That's a good idea. He's got a lot of good ideas to help the middle class kind of get back to where we need to be. I'll take that over a globalist, WEF elitist every day of the week. And I just have a feeling, let me know in the comment section, that you all agree with me.